Good evening. Good evening. What is up? Welcome back to another edition of Carolina Panthers Talk, brought to you by Blitzball Champ Gaming here on the YouTube Tube. I'm your host for this evening, Blitzball Champ Jason Ingram. Whoo! A lot of craziness going on in the NFL. Few things going on with the Carolina Panthers, but a lot of craziness going on in the NFL. As we get ready to enter into this free agency period. So, going to talk about a couple of things tonight. Carolina Panthers made some more moves, made some more signings. Going to talk about the two players that they're bringing back. Going to take a look at what's next for the Carolina Panthers. What could be the next move with all the other moves that have been made in the NFL so far. So, yeah, we're going to get into this tonight because I tell you, my mind is like all over the place with everything that's going on. There's like no telling what the heck is going to happen next. It's crazy. So, I mean, it's already crazy enough that now Aaron Rodgers is getting paid the ginormous amount of money that he's going to be getting paid, becoming the new highest paid player in NFL history. That $200 million contract to stay with Green Bay. Woo! That man is getting his aid. Now, whether he's able to help lead the Packers back to another Super Bowl victory remains to be seen. You know, he's got one championship, a couple of MVPs, but hadn't really been able to get back and win the big dance. So, have to see what happens with that. First thing I want to say, it's been a lot of, talks here and there about if the Carolina Panthers should take a chance at going after Jordan Love. Let me say right here, right now, they better not try to go after Jordan Love. Don't do it. Don't do it. I mean, we need a quarterback, but we can't be that desperate. Mainly because we're more than just a quarterback away from being where we need to be a contender. We're definitely more than a quarterback away. But let's take a look at these recent signings that Carolina are bringing back. So first off, a really big one, especially for Carolina, is we're bringing back kicker Zane Gonzalez. I definitely thought this was a good move. Bringing him back for 2 years, and I believe it was a $2.5 million contract. We have been in a kicker carousel for quite a while before we got Zane Gonzalez. And Zane Gonzalez played really, really great up until, the Buffalo pregame when, he got hurt pregame. But he finished with a 90.9 percentage on field goals, and he hit 22 of 23 extra points. So Zane Gonzalez has been an excellent kicker for the Carolina Panthers. So I definitely felt like this was a great move, a very necessary move. Bringing back Zane, we got him for 2 years. And he hit 17 straight field goals leading up to that injury. 17 straight. You could say one of our best scorers on the team, on special teams. That says something. But definitely was great in the kickoff game. So this was a very much needed signing that needed to happen. So I'm glad that they went ahead and pulled the trigger, bring back Zane Gonzalez for two more years. So we don't have to deal with the kicker carousel anymore, or at least for now. But this was a good move. Definitely thought that this was a good move, bringing back Zane Gonzalez. He's been consistent. He's been great. And, you know, one less problem. One less problem. Carolina Panthers also decided to bring back linebacker Julian Stanford, which after chatting a bit with Mr. Carolina, shout out to you, this was pretty much for depth at special teams because Julian Stanford has played mainly special teams for most of this season for the Panthers. But they're bringing him back on a 1-year deal. I didn't catch the details on the contract size, but they're bringing him back for 1 more year. And he's been consistent. He's played in the last 2 seasons, played in all of those games. And he was the leader in tackles on special teams. So, I mean, if anything, they consider him a key player in special teams. Therefore, they're bringing him back for 1 more year. Probably not the signing that maybe a lot of us were thinking of, but he'll be working with new special teams coordinator Chris Tabor. So we'll have to see how it goes. But they felt the need to bring him back. 1-year deal. Key part of special teams. So, hey, I mean, after all, you got to build up a team, and that includes special teams. It's got to be offense, defense, and you can't forget about special teams. So, welcome back, Julian Stanford. So, Zane Gonzalez, 2 years. Julian Stanford for 1 year. So, welcome back. Now, some other big moves that have been happening, not necessarily from Carolina, but one that does stick out is that, according to a tweet about Stefan Gilmore, it looks like Stefan Gilmore will be exploring the free agency market. Not a good look. Not a good look for Carolina, because with Hassan Reddick exploring the free agency market and now Stefan Gilmore exploring the free agency market, the only thing that I can think of is maybe Carolina is going to zone in on maybe trying to bring back Dante Jackson because of the high potential of us pretty much losing Stefan Gilmore. Because the thing that Stefan Gilmore noted is that he wants to explore all of his options and he wants to go somewhere where he can win and get a good deal. Win and get a good deal. This is Stefan Gilmore. I don't believe it's necessarily going to be at Carolina, y'all. As much as I hate to say that, doesn't look like it's going to be Carolina. So now I'm just thinking, if we can't bring back Dante Jackson, then, oh, man. We're pretty much going to have a starting lineup to the links of J.C. Horn, C.J. Henderson, A.J. Bouye, Keith Taylor, S.T.O. the third, Stanley Thomas Oliver the third. Not really sure what Troy Pride Jr. status is going to be like, but we're going to have a very young secondary, especially starting secondary. Now, if we can bring back D-Jack, that'll definitely help. But if we don't, then secondary kind of has me a little bit worried, y'all. Now, I'm not saying that J.C. Horn, C.J. Henderson, A.J. Bouye, Keith Taylor can't be successful. I'm not saying that. But without that big veteran presence and just with the guys that we could have had, it's going to make it tough. It's going to make it really tough. Hey, welcome, Mamba. Welcome, Super Trebo. Good to see y'all. Hope y'all are doing well. Let's see what y'all got to say. Mamba says, I don't agree with trading CMC. If someone does offer a first, then I would 100% consider. But all that money that we gained by the restructures would be lost because of the $18 million cap. Well, I know one of the things that was mentioned is that maybe getting a first and another player of equal caliber. So I think it really depends on the player as well as, that first pick, because just getting a first round pick for him, that's not enough. That's not enough. So, but you did make a good point about the $18 million cap, and especially with what is still owed to Sam Darnold, regardless of what happens to Sam Darnold. Super Trebo says, hey, Jason, with this training facility put on hold, are you worried Panthers could possibly be moved out of the Carolinas? I don't even want to think that. For now, I'm going to say I'm not worried. I don't think that's going to happen, Super Trebo, but it's not impossible. I don't think it's going to happen, but it's not impossible. So that's where I stand with that. I don't think that is going to happen. Fingers crossed, prayers up that it doesn't happen, but it's very possible. Now, to Mama's point about Christian McCaffrey. Now, I know they initially weren't planning on trading him, but are willing to listen to phone calls about a trade. And a team that keeps, I guess, popping up seems to be Buffalo, maybe vouching for CMC. Not sure what equal caliber player we could get from Buffalo. I mean, I know their release, I know they're allowing Cole Beasley to seek a trade, but I mean, is Cole Beasley really equal value to Christian McCaffrey? I don't know about that. But at the same time, as many fans have said, best availability, or the best ability is availability. So, a lot of red flags, a lot of concerns are still pointing at Christian McCaffrey's health and whether he can bounce back. The thing is, it's risky keeping him. It's risky getting rid of him. Main thing is, if we're going to get rid of him, we should seek to get equal or better value. So that's pretty much where I stand with that. But dang, Hassan Reddick and Stefan Gilmore exploring free agency. That's not good for us. That is not good for us. So I think with that being said, I think it's going to be bye-bye Hassan Reddick and bye-bye Gilly Lock. It's not a good look. Now, of course, another big, ginormous move when it comes to quarterbacks. Denver has traded to acquire Russell Wilson. Mamba says, I heard Buffalo offered Cole Beasley and a third, but we declined. Cole Beasley and a third for C-Max? For C-Mac? I mean, would you accept that, Mamba? I don't know if I could accept that. Could you accept that? So the Broncos got Russell Wilson and a 4th-round pick. The Seahawks got Drew Lock, Noah Fant, Shelby Harris, 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, and a 5th-round pick. Wow. They went in. They went in. They're like, bump Bridgewater, Teddy Two Gloves, bump Drew Lock. We want Russell Wilson. And they got Russell Wilson. Man, he's going from the NFC to the AFC. Oh, and by the way, y'all do know that we do play Denver next season. Y'all know that, right? Just thought I'd throw that in there. We do play Denver next season. Mamba says, nah, man, we could get 10 times more from a team like the Texans. Facts. Deshaun will be about the same price, I think. Deshaun Watson. Let's talk about Deshaun Watson. Now, apparently word is that the Panthers are back in the running to land Deshaun Watson, and apparently the Panthers' top priority is to zone in and get Deshaun Watson. But at the same time, they're keeping an eye out for this Friday to see where the court case goes and how all this evidence will pan out and what's going to happen with Deshaun Watson on Friday. Y'all, I still honestly highly doubt Deshaun is coming to Carolina. I don't see it. I don't see it. Because one, I don't even think there's been any sort of reasoning aimed his way for him to even consider coming to Carolina. Number one. And number two, if we can't capitalize on delivering an O-line, then he's definitely not going to want to come. So I'll say this. I give him a 5% chance that he comes to Carolina. And that's me being nice. That's me being nice. And who knows what kind of offer the Panthers may make, what load of assets that they put on the table to get Deshaun Watson. Because we don't have a lot of cap. We don't have a lot of cap. So, yeah, I don't see it happening. I know there's a whole barrage of the Panthers nation still hopeful that we can get Deshaun Watson, but I just don't see it happening. I don't. I really don't. You know, I would just hate to see so many folks get their hopes up and then just be dashed away and disappointed over something that I really feel like we have a 5% chance. 5%. 5, this many, of landing them. So I don't know. I just really feel strongly that I think us as part of the Panthers nation, we gotta let that go. We gotta let Deshaun Watson go. We gotta let that idea go, because I just don't honestly think it's gonna happen. Because one, I don't think we could afford him, and two, I don't even believe that he wants to be here. I don't believe he wants to be here. So why go after somebody that don't want to be here? You know? So let's see. Russell Wilson to Denver. Carson Wentz to the Washington Commanders. Now that was very interesting there. That's very interesting. Mamba says, bro, I would love to have Deshaun. Miami's offensive line is not much better than ours, so I don't think that he has taken offensive line as that much priority. He would be a fool not to with the number of times he's been sacked a season ago. Shoot. If he values his well-being and being able to continue his career, he better start making it a priority. Let me put something up here. Let me Deshaun Watson's been with the Texans his entire NFL career so far. Deshaun Watson has been sacked 174 times in the 4 years that he's been with the Texans. If he values his career and longevity, offensive line better be a priority on his mind. Shoot. Super Trebo says, I hate to think of this, but if the Panthers were moved out of the Carolinas, would you still be a fan, Jason? You think we would lose a lot of fans? Oh, of course I'd still be a fan. Yeah, definitely would still be a fan. Yeah, no doubt. I've been a fan since the beginning. That ain't changing. Do I think we will lose a lot of the fans? Probably. Shoot, it wouldn't surprise me if it's split down the middle, if you ask me. It might get split down the middle. But do I think we'll lose fans? Yeah. Mamba says he also wanted to go to the Jets. You remember he was liking pics of him in a Jets jersey. Well, I mean, I figured they're going to bank on Zach Wilson now and build him up. So, and that's another thing. He would be going to pretty much just about equal value team as the Texans. Just, I don't know, maybe into another rebuilding situation, perhaps. But that'd be kind of weird if you wanted to go to the Jets. Like, really? The Jets? Why? Ugh. But yeah, I would hope that he would be starting to value offensive line, you know, coming from somewhere where he's been sacked 174 times. That's a lot. I'm just saying that's a lot. Carson Wentz to the Washington Commanders. That's very interesting. Very interesting. Guess Kyle Allen wasn't enough. Taylor Heineke, which I thought they were kind of, you know, sold on him, but guess not. I guess him and Carson Wentz are gonna at least compete. You know, it should be decent competition. I would agree, Mamba. I think he's just tired of the Texans front office. Yes, I would agree. Yeah, I can agree with that. But, I mean, Carson Wentz, I mean, love him or hate the guy, the dude has put up good numbers. Main thing is his health. And he's starting to kind of grow an ego, it seems. But the dude's health is a question mark. That's the only thing. And when you think about it, even coming off from the Colts, he still put up 3,563 yards, 27 touchdowns, only 7 picks. So, I mean, not to mention he played in all 17 games, too. Now, of course, they finished 9-8, but it's kind of weird that they're departing with him after one season. I mean, they finished 9-8. Feel like they're kind of giving up on him, but guess it is what it is. And then word is that the Giants at one point were thinking of pursuing Cam Newton, but now word is that they're zoning in on Mitchell Trubisky. Well, that would be a slight upgrade from Daniel Jones. But, I mean, and then the word is the Colts may be actively trying to get Jimmy Garoppolo from the Niners. So, I mean, when you think about it, so we know Aaron Rodgers is off the board because he re-signed and will be staying with Green Bay for another 4 years. Carson Wentz traded to the Commanders. Russell Wilson traded to the Broncos. I mean, I guess still no word on Kirk Cousins. And like I said, it looks like Mitchell Trubisky might be headed to the Giants or maybe Cam Newton. I don't know. I mean, Cam Newton's still kind of up in the air. I mean, and then Jimmy Garoppolo, I mean, he's still got to get his surgery, shoulder surgery. And then supposedly they say he would be ready to go come, I guess, middle of training camp or maybe right before training camp. But Jimmy Garoppolo is another one, produced good stats, but health is another issue for him. So, but yeah, this quarterback situation, ugh. I mean, who knows? Like, it sounds like Carolina may be having something going on in the mix to try to fire away to get Deshaun Watson, I guess. But at the same time, Seattle, they're gonna want to be in the running for a quarterback because you know dang old well they're not going to settle for Drew Lock. No way they're settling for Drew Lock. I know they're acquired him in the trade, but there's no way they are settling on Drew Lock. They would be crazy to settle on Drew Lock. So, I mean, if anything, I could see Seattle possibly being in the running for Deshaun Watson. Or if anything, how do I think of it? I wonder what first round picks Seattle got. Actually, yeah. So it was first round pick for this year. I think it's first round pick for this year, next year. So Seattle, instead of Denver, gets that number 9 spot. And they could be in running to get a quarterback, perhaps a Malik Willis or a Kenny Pickett at the number 9 spot. Let's see. Super Trebo says, if Deshaun did come, do you think it would hurt the image of the Panthers and make it look bad here in Charlotte with all allegations, even if he's innocent. I mean, honestly, after the whole Ray Caruth situation, us bringing in Eric Reed with the whole, kneeling. I mean, could it get any worse if that's something that folks want to zone in on? I mean, at the end of the day, it could possibly look bad. But I mean, I don't know. Michael Vick had the whole dogfighting scandal. But yeah, he was able to come back and was able to play for a little bit longer in the NFL. So, I mean, you never know. You never know. I mean, you're going to have a split crowd anyway, Super Trebo. We've had a split crowd even with Cam Newton. And he didn't even do anything wrong like that. So I think any way you look at it, there's going to be a split crowd. If we were to get Deshaun Watson, there's going to be a split crowd. So, I mean, think about Baltimore Ravens fans. I'm sure there was probably a split crowd with them with the whole Ray Lewis scandal. Ray Rice. You know what I mean? So, Ben Roethlisberger with the Steelers. There's probably a split crowd with them without the whole mess that happened around Ben Roethlisberger. So, I think either way you look at it, there's going to be a split crowd regardless of the situation. So, Mamba says, if we go 8-9, would you give Matt Rule another center? Oh, another season. I would simply because of our hard schedule. No. It's playoffs or bust. It's playoffs or bust. If 8-9 doesn't get us into the playoffs, he's out. Third time's a charm. You're going into this with only 10 wins under your belt. Playoffs or bust. If Ron Rivera can bounce back in his third season and get it together, so can Matt Rule if he starts using his head and making better decisions. No excuses. If Ron Rivera can do it, Matt Rule better get busy. Playoffs or bust. It doesn't matter if we get upset wins over playoff-bound teams next season. If we don't make the playoffs, Matt Rule's got to go. Mamba says, so what quarterback do you think can get us into the playoffs? I mean, when you think about it, there's plenty of quarterbacks. It's just hard to say that they would get us into the playoffs on an incomplete team. We could have had Deshaun Watson all last season and still would have failed to make the playoffs. Because like I said, we could have the best quarterback, but if he don't have time to throw and he's getting killed out there, it's not going to make that big of a difference. And when you think about it, it kind of happened to Deshaun Watson 2 seasons ago when he had those big stats and numbers, but yet the team finished 4-12. So, I mean, there's a load of quarterbacks. Because the fact of the matter is, with Sam Darnold, yeah, we could say that Sam Darnold is potentially a bust. But let's also keep in mind that Sam Darnold has yet to play behind a good offensive line. To be fair, he has not played behind a good offensive line. Let's just keep it real. Now, it's a fair argument. It's not the end all be all. But Sam Darnold has not played behind a good offensive line. If he has played behind a good offensive line, no way to this day he be sacked 133 times, especially getting sacked an average 30 times in the seasons that he's played. I'm just saying. So that's my only defense for Sam Darnold, just overall. Now, there's an argument to say that he did come to Carolina with, on paper, better weapons. But as far as O-line, I think it's unfair to say that he's played with consistent time to make plays, because that's just not true. Now, that doesn't change the fact that he's made bad decisions when he does have the opportunity to make the good play. He's made plenty of those, but he has not consistently had time to throw the ball. Mr. Gemini, what's up? Good to see you. Mr. Gemini says, yeah, a third losing season. Yeah, he's out. Like I said before, if we start the season 1-4, he should be gone. Very, very possible of that happening. Very possible. 1-4, definitely not a good start. Definitely hard to bounce back and get to the playoffs with a 1-4 start. Super Trebo says, it's so bad right now, Jason, that I even forgot who our quarterbacks are sometimes. The quarterback situation is so bad. Yeah, it's definitely looking bad for us right now. But, like, you know, going back to Mamba's point, like, I would be fine with a Kirk Cousins. I mean, Deshaun Watson, if we happen to land him, great. Shoot, I would have been fine with a Matthew Stafford, and you saw what happened with Matthew Stafford. You know, my concern with Jimmy Garoppolo is his health, but he would be an upgrade from Sam Darnold. I mean, when you think about it, there's a lot of quarterbacks that would be upgrades compared to Sam Darnold. Mitchell Trubisky is kind of iffy, but at the end of the day, it's one piece. And then we got to look at linebacker. You know, Bobby Wagner got released. AJ Klein got released. I would be glad to bring back AJ Klein. If we could land Bobby Wagner, I mean, I don't know how much it would really cost, but that would be a big addition to our linebacking core. I mean, could you imagine that? Bobby Wagner, Shaq Thompson, Frankie Louvu? You could work with that. You could even work with Frankie Louvu, Shaq Thompson, and AJ Klein. Why not? Why not? AJ Klein's had success at Carolina. I mean, he played shadowing Luke Kuechly, for crying out loud. Mr. Gemini says, what do you think about them listening to trade offers for Christian McCaffrey? Doesn't surprise me. I know they initially said that they weren't planning on trading for him, but they're willing to lend an ear and listen to offers. And the word is that it would take them getting a first round and a player of equal caliber for them to even consider releasing CMC to another team. I don't know what team would be willing to give us that. supposedly one team that was mentioned, and Mamba touched on it earlier, was Buffalo. I think he mentioned Cole Beasley in a third, but because, Cole Beasley has been given permission to explore the market for a trade. And then still got to see what the Patriots decide they want to do, because they reached out to us about a trade for potentially Robbie Anderson. So I don't know if that's fallen through or what, but I mean, we know that Robbie Anderson can be replaced, but if we're going to replace Christian McCaffrey, we got to do it to the point where it's meaningful and it's of equal value. Not saying that he can't be replaced. I mean, anybody can be replaced. Just have to make it count. And that's one that we definitely want to make it count. Now, as far as quarterback, again, like I said, Kirk Cousins, Deshaun Watson, maybe a Marcus Mariota, maybe an option to consider, seeing if we could revive Marcus Mariota, who was a former starter. So, I mean, there are names to consider, for sure. There are names to consider. Mamba says, Bobby Wagner is a bit older. Older players usually look for one last big payday, so it might just come back to who is offering the most money. And you know what? I think that's also probably the case with Stefan Gilmore, now that it's been made clear that he's going to be exploring the free agency market as well. Not to mention, they're both, I believe, about the same age. Yeah, Gilly is 31. Here, let me see. Bobby Wagner. Yeah, they're both 31. So, yeah, they're same age. But I mean, you make a good point there, Mamba. Probably could be looking for that big paycheck. And Stefan Gilmore, he wants to go to a team and win and get a good deal. So oh my God, I would really hate to see Stefan Gilmore go, but we might as well prepare ourselves mentally of not having Stefan Gilmore and not having Hassan Reddick. I mean, don't get me wrong. We're bringing back some key pieces. We restructured Shaq and Taylor Moton's contracts. We brought back Frankie Louvu. We're bringing back Zane Gonzalez. Special teams is important. Bringing back Julian Stanford. Now, it's also kind of up in the air if we're going to be taking up, which I'm sure we're going to possibly pick up, Brian Burns' fifth-year option. But I'm really, really concerned looking at our secondary, because we're going to have an extremely young secondary. Because C.J. Henderson has not yet played to his full potential, but at the same time, he's still young. There's still room for growth. Keith Taylor, he's about to go into his second year. J.C. Horn, was a big spark when he played until he got injured. So hopefully he can bounce back and still provide that same spark, if not better. AJ Bouye, I mean, he's pretty much the oldest in the line of cornerbacks. So, I mean, and then we got to also look at safety, because I don't think Justin Burris is it. I mean, we got Jeremy Chin, Sean Chandler, Miles Hartsfield, It's just there's now a lot of question marks with the secondary, especially if Gilly's walking and we don't bring back D-Jack. Whew, scary. Really, really scary. But I mean, y'all look at what Denver did to get Russell Wilson. Is Carolina, is David Tepper, is Scott Fitterer that bold to go big to get, a Deshaun Watson? Because we got to remember, Denver gave up Drew Lock, Noah Fant, Shelby Harris, 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, and a 5th-round pick to get only Russell Wilson and a 4th-round pick. At some point, we have to ask ourselves, what is the fine line between being too conservative and being too risky? Where do we stand with that? We've already tried Teddy Bridgewater. We've had Kyle Allen, Will Grier, Cam Newton. Had Taylor Heineke for a moment. Sam Darnold. PJ Walker. That's a lot of quarterbacks within 2 seasons, y'all. 3 seasons. That's a lot. That's a lot. Carolina is going to have to take a big, ginormous risk. Whatever that is, we have to get to the point where we gotta take a big risk. Do we really gotta take a big risk? I think so. Because when you think about it, look at the risk that the Rams took. Won them a Super Bowl. I mean, the whole situation with Peyton Manning, especially with how his health was coming off that really nasty neck injury and surgery and, all that. Denver took a chance on him, beat us in the Super Bowl, Super Bowl 50. I mean, y'all, we got to start taking some big risks. Mamba, you said it. You said it, Mamba. We're being too conservative. They don't realize how make or break this offseason is. Yeah. Because when you look at it, yeah, we took a pretty decent size risk on Teddy Bridgewater. But we severely downgraded when we went from Teddy Bridgewater to Sam Darnold. I get the idea, I get the concept, but it was a big, big risk, and it was a downgrade. Mamba says everybody's job is up in the air if we don't get it right. Yeah. Yeah. Now, I will give kudos to Carolina for the most part, outside of the head coach, on the coaching staff that they brought in. They did a little something with that. But so far, Matt Rule has shown that he really ain't a good NFL coach. Let's just keep it real. David Tepper's giving him another shot. David Tepper still believes in him. And then, of course, you got the whole situation with the facility in Rock Hill, that being put on hold. And the mayor of Rock Hill is like, look, y'all want payments? We want to see playoffs. We want to see championships. Hadn't been to the playoffs since 2017. It's now 2022. So, yeah. I think overall, Carolina needs to take a big risk. And who knows, y'all? Maybe that just means they sell the house to get Deshaun Watson. By God, maybe that's what they got to do. As much as that would look like it would be a dagger to the heart on paper, maybe that's what they got to do, is go all in on Deshaun Watson, I guess, barring anything crazy happening on Friday. Maybe they feel like that's what they got to do. But if some way, somehow it pays off, then what can we really say but, dang, we got a championship. Not saying that it'll be next season, but all I'm saying is if this organization is supposed to be in win now mode, we need to severely start making win now mode moves. And we have to ask ourselves, have we really been making win now type of moves? 2 back-to-back 5-win seasons, I would say no. So Carolina Panthers organization need to start making win now moves. After all, words can be something, but the actions got to line up. If the actions don't line up with the words, it means nothing. It means nothing. As a Christian, the Bible said faith without works is dead. Got to work. Got to put it in action. Oh, man. Twitter's been blowing up all day. Got a lot of work to do, y'all. A whole lot of work. So some of the potential players that would be available, like I said, Giants are going hard on Mitchell Trubisky. I know that was a name that was kind of on Carolina's radar at one point, but it looks like the Giants might land him. Jimmy Garoppolo as well. And then also going back to Deshaun Watson, he also has to be willing to waive that no trade clause. That's another thing. He's got to be willing to waive that no trade clause. Not to mention, has anybody even heard any news on Dante Jackson? Has there even been any progress on that? Mr. Gemini says, I heard someone talking about Jordan Love. Yeah, I've heard it mentioned, but we better not. I mean, if we're gonna do that, shoot, we might as well draft a quarterback. I mean, what has Jordan Love really shown to warrant that opportunity? You know? Like, I'm not hating on the guy, but what has he shown? I mean, I know he's young, but like, folks that may want Jordan Love, I mean, what has he really shown? You know, just, I mean, he hadn't been in college since 2019, so I mean, we better not go for no Jordan Love. I can tell you that right now. We better not go for no Jordan Love. We better not do it. We better not do it. For those that would take a chance on Jordan Love, please tell me why. Please tell me why. Mamba says Jordan Love would do terrible in our system. He hasn't showed anything, but he's a bust. As a matter of fact, let me look at his current stats. So he's played in 6 games. He started in 1 game, but he's 0-1. 36 completions out of 62 attempts, 58.1 completion percentage, passed for 411 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Rushed for 27 yards of 12 attempts, sacked 3 times, fumbled 3 times, lost 1 of those fumbles. Yeah. Mr. Gemini, you said it. I'd rather draft Malik Willis than have Jordan Love. Yeah, I mean, shoot. If there's thoughts of going after him, we might as well draft a quarterback. If his name is mentioned, we might as well just draft a quarterback. But dang, we're really letting Stefan Gilmore and Hassan Reddick walk, and possibly Dante Jackson walk. And then there were even some folks talking about Panthers trade for Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson. Well, I mean, to be fair, I know that a lot of people don't like that idea, but to be fair, Lamar Jackson is an MVP. He is a former MVP. Mamba says Derek Carr could be a dark horse candidate also. I would welcome Derek Carr. I would welcome Derek Carr. For sure. I would welcome him. Why not? But I don't know, y'all. What would y'all think? What do y'all think about Lamar Jackson? I see it mentioned quite a bit on Twitter. Hey, I'm gonna try my best to pronounce this name correctly. Please forgive me if I mispronounce it. Is it Kaleo Wesley? Let me know if I said that right. If not, I do apologize. David Tepper said he wants them to draft Kenny Pickett, which is true. Honestly, I think we should probably. I wonder what Ben McAdoo thinks, because I'm sorry, David Tepper, he's the owner. I think he should leave that kind of decision. I think he should leave that decision up to, like, the coaches and the talent scouts and Scott Fitterer and all that. Mamba says, I would love it, but Panther fans on Twitter seem to be mad about everything these days. Oh, dude, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, you name it. And then not only that, it was said that the Panthers did try to go after Russell Wilson. I don't know what they were offering to get Russell Wilson, but they did try. Word is that they did try. So supposedly with Deshaun Watson, word is that David Tepper was hoping for a price drop. I mean, I don't know how much of a price drop he's thinking. I mean, say what you want about Deshaun Watson, but he's at least a top 5 quarterback in the league. So, I mean, I don't know how much of a price drop he was thinking. But like I said, 5% chance. Watch Seattle end up finessing and getting Deshaun Watson. Seattle probably gonna mess around and land Deshaun Watson. Oh, and here's another thing. The Cardinals cut linebacker Jordan Hicks. Jordan Hicks, who is younger than Bobby Wagner. I mean, last season had 75 solo tackles, 41 assisted tackles, 4 sacks, a forced fumble, 2 fumble recoveries. I don't know, y'all. What do y'all think about Jordan Hicks? Linebacker. He's a younger option. And then, like I said, let's not forget about AJ Klein, someone that has played for Carolina before for 4 seasons. Dude has stayed healthy throughout his career. AJ Klein had 35 total tackles, 29 tackles, 6 assists. Didn't have any sacks last season. Had 5 in 2020. But he did get a fumble recovery, and he got an interception. Actually, he got the interception against us. Now that I think about it, Yeah, I think he got the interception against us. Wow. That's funny. Mr. Gemini says, how are you going to feel if you're watching the draft and Roger Goodell says with the 6th pick in the 2022 NFL draft, the Carolina Panthers select Kenny Pickett? I mean, I'll be a little disappointed because, like I said, I emphasize I want O-line. And if it had to come down to quarterback, I mean, seems like a lot more eyes have been on Malik Willis. But, I mean, I would end up accepting it. Definitely not my first choice because I really want O-line. But if we get him, I hope that he can be built up. We can protect him, and we can do something with him. Now, if they're gonna draft him and he's gonna get mentored by Sam Darnold, that ain't gonna work. Mamba says I would welcome him as a last resort if AJ, Bobby, and Leighton don't work out. Jordan Hicks would be the last resort, Mamba. Fair enough. I guess I show a little bit more favoritism to AJ Klein because, he did play with Carolina, played behind Luke Kuechly. But yeah, AJ Klein, he's a beast. There's a lot of areas he could continue to improve on, but AJ Klein has built himself up pretty well. But I'm thankful we don't have to play the kicker carousels anymore. Ooh, interesting article here. Cat's Crave. 6 reasons for and against the Panthers trading for Jordan Love. Okay, here you go. Here you go right here. Let's see. Reason number 1, Jordan Love has been groomed by Aaron Rodgers. I mean, has he though? No, let me be fair. He probably has. That's a fair reason. Okay. Reason number 1 for against trading for Jordan Love. Carolina Panthers don't know how good Jordan Love is. Maybe. And then Carolina Panthers could trade for another quarterback on hope alone. On hope alone. I can't emphasize that. Hope alone. Hold up. Reason number 2 against Carolina Panthers could get better at quarterback than any in the 2022 draft class. Being Jordan Love would be better than any quarterback in the draft class. Is he though? Is he? Reason 4 is Carolina Panthers would get a cheap quarterback with a potentially high reward. Okay, that is fair. That is fair. Reason for against, Carolina Panthers would have to give up assets for someone unproven. And that's the number 1 reason why I would not suggest trading for Jordan Love, is because the Carolina Panthers would have to give up assets for someone, what's the key word? Unproven. So, no, we should not go after Jordan Love because he is unproven. Okay. Mamba says, A-Rod wouldn't teach his replacement how to scramble an egg. Doubt he's learned a whole lot from him. But to be fair, A-Rod did learn from Brett Favre. So, to be fair. Ooh. 4 pros and cons to Carolina Panthers signing Mitchell Trubisky. Pro. Mitchell Trubisky could have learned a lot in Buffalo, which is very possible. Very possible. Con. Carolina Panthers cannot take on another reclamation project. That's a big con. Pro. Carolina Panthers could still draft a quarterback. That is a good point. Getting Mitchell Trubisky, drafting a quarterback, that would be some competition for you. That would definitely be some competition. Con. Mitchell Trubisky might be broken.
The 2022.
So I guess that's it. So 2 pros and 2 cons. But it makes sense. Definitely makes sense. Oh, man. Another word is that the Panther scouts, according to Jeremy Ego of Carolina Huddle, apparently the scouts are very high on Malik Willis, y'all. So, seems like if we were to go quarterback, seems like the scouts want Malik Willis, David Tepper wants Kenny Pickett. There you go. Mr. Gemini says, I feel like we should just go all out for Watson at this point. There's really nothing out there at this time. And, Mr. Gemini, I think it could potentially, it may have to actually come down to that, which was what I was saying earlier, that Carolina probably is going to have to take a big, ginormous leap of faith and just take one of the biggest risks and maybe sell the house for a Deshaun Watson. Maybe that's what it's going to have to take to at least get this somewhat started of a complete turnaround. Not saying that it will happen 100% next season, but 2 back-to-back 5-win seasons is not a good look. And with the type of decisions and the number of quarterbacks that we've had in just only a few seasons, Cam Newton, Will Grier, Taylor Heineke, Kyle Allen, Teddy Bridgewater, PJ Walker, Sam Darnold. This many. We've had this many quarterbacks. So we can't keep playing quarterback carousel. Mamba says Watson is the last elite proven quarterback left, but we need to wait to see how his legal situation pans out. But yeah, it might have to come to that. And that again, so another is part of the risk. It's also part of the risk. Because say this legal stuff doesn't get cleared, or if it comes back and bites him in the butt later, which leads to a fine, leads to a suspension for a certain number of games, that's going to factor in. It's going to factor in. And regardless of whether he's still here or not, we're going to have to deal with that 18 mil fifth-year option of Sam Darnold, whether he's here or not. We're going to have to deal with that. Mr. Gemini says, I mean, if he sits out 2 years, is he even going to be at his full potential too? He might be rusty. I mean, that's another factor in to the risk. I mean, he hasn't played in a game for a whole season. So you got to also factor in if he gets suspended for a certain number of games, there's no telling when he would even be able to start. I mean, yeah, sure, he'd be able to do training camp and all that stuff. So, I mean, Mamba says Watson does face a suspension when he comes back, I believe. Do you know for how long, perhaps? Because, you know, like I said, that's impactful. That's very impactful. And then that's not the only problem. We got to also start getting to work on offensive line. Shoot, Jaguars just franchise tagged what's his face, Cam Robinson, and he was a name that I was thinking of, but they done franchise tagged him. But like I said, I think they should give Andrew Norwell a call. I think they should give Andrew Norwell a call, see if he wants to come back. Khalil Wesley says it's too risky because we have no draft capital. It would be dumb. They'll miss out first round of the draft. Deshaun Watson isn't the answer of our prayers. I mean, that's a fair point. But let me just point this out. Nothing that we've done since 2017 has worked. So, you know, and we've already have had a history of trying to do the bargain bin shopping, and that hasn't worked for us. So, as I mentioned before, I think it's at the point where we're going to have to take some big risks. I think we're going to have to take some big risks. And it may not be the type of risk that we like, but we're going to have to do something different. I'm not saying that it necessarily is getting Deshaun Watson, but it might end up being that. But we got to do something different than what we've been doing. It's got to happen. As I said before, if this organization is supposed to be in win now mode, they got to start making win now decisions. They got to start making win now decisions. Mamba says, from what I've seen from his Instagram, he has been training. Oh, that's good. That's good. That's good. Gotta keep in shape and keep healthy anyway, so that's good. Mr. Gemini says, I feel like they definitely don't know what to do at this point. There's hardly any good quarterbacks out there, and this is a make or break season. Hopefully I'm wrong, though. Yeah, I mean, the number is dwindling down little by little. Outside of the draft, the number's dwindling down. Because who knows? Tomorrow, Mitchell Trubisky might be a Giant or might commit to the Giants. You know, I mean, who knows what happens with Kirk Cousins? I don't know if that's still up in the air. I mean, and then we also got to get to work on this O-line. We got to get to work on this O-line. Oh, so check this out. Picking up Brian Burns' fifth-year option would be $16.01 million. $16.01 million if they pick up Brian Burns' fifth-year option. Mr. Gemini says we might be running back with Sam again. I mean, that would be the play it safe plan. But if they're going to do that, then they need to make that decision, and then they need to start beefing up the other areas. O-line, linebacker, secondary, D-line. But they need to make up their mind because, I mean, it's going to kind of make or break depending on how much time is spent waiting. And the thing is, even though Seattle is getting the number 9 pick now because of Denver, some folks say possibly trading down to get the number 9 pick. But I'm telling you, if we trade with Seattle to get that 9th pick and they get our 6, they're most likely going to go quarterback. They're probably going to go quarterback. So, something to keep in mind. But I will say this. Trading Christian McCaffrey gives me the idea that Chuba Hubbard would be the starting running back going forward. He'd be the main bread and butter running back. Now, I'm not sure if they would also consider bringing back Amir Abdullah, but if they trade McCaffrey, I could see them rolling with Chuba Hubbard and possibly getting another running back in the draft. Mr. Gemini says it's either going to be Sam, Cam, or Pickett, or Willis. Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. Oh, shout out to Panthers Culture on Twitter. I got to mention this. Y'all, listen to this. Cam Newton, 0-7, 9 total touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Kyle Allen, 5-7, 19 total touchdowns, 16 interceptions. Will Grier, 0-2, no touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Teddy Two Gloves Bridgewater, 4-11, 20 total touchdowns, 11 interceptions. PJ Walker, 2-0, 2 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Sam Darnold, 4-7, 14 total touchdowns, 13 interceptions. Find us a quarterback. That's it. That's his tweet. Let that sink in. Kaleo Wesley says, last year, Deshaun Watson didn't want to come to Charlotte. The front office is very desperate to go after Watson. Knows we're not on his radar. He had 2 teams. He's going to Tampa Bay, which are Tampa Bay and Minnesota. Well, look at it this way. It could get to the point where it could be that he's just wants to do whatever he can to get away from the Texans. Because when you think about it, look at Robbie Anderson. Right now, it's safe to say I'm pretty sure he wants to do whatever it takes so that he does not have to play with Sam Darnold. He don't want to play with Sam Darnold. Yes, he got the 2-year extension. He don't want to play with Sam Darnold. He was so much happier even for that short period of time with Cam Newton throwing him the ball. Let's keep it real. But, it could get to the point where you get desperate enough that, you know what, I just want out of this organization. Take me somewhere else. I want out. And maybe Deshaun Watson, maybe little by little, will get to that point. But we'll see. Hey, what's up, Rome's? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. But man, that quarterback, those quarterback stats, those don't look good. Rome says, great signing for us. Julian Stanford and Zane Gonzalez. Yeah. Zane, we got our kicker. He has proven to be our kicker going forward. So 2 more years, good deal. Julian Stanford apparently was their MVP, I guess, on special teams. So keeping him for 1 more year. So, special teams is important. I mean, we got to have a complete football team as much as possible. But Zane was a good signing. Zane was definitely a good signing. Now, I know earlier, Mamba says Deshaun Watson's agent said those Tampa Bay and Minnesota rumors were not true. Oh, gotcha. Now, here's something that I do wonder. 3 days ago, the Commanders were interested in Deshaun Watson. I assume that's not the case anymore since they are landing Carson Wentz. So, what I'm really, really scared for, y'all, what if he does land with the Bucs? Oh, that's going to make the nightmare continue. If Deshaun Watson happens to land with the Buccaneers, whoo-wee. We got to deal with Falcons, who we split with last season. Got to deal with the Saints, who we split with. No matter how you want to look at this team, we split with them last season. And then we look at the Bucs, who destroyed us last season. And you take out Tom Brady and you replace him with a younger Deshaun Watson. Yeah, I don't like our chances making the playoffs or just doing well in the NFC South if that happens. Because as I said before, probably the team we would have the best chance of beating twice would probably be the Saints. Mamba says another reason why I want to get him. Yeah, understandable. Rome says, if we get him, I really think we are contenders, especially with how weak the NFC is now. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that. You know why I wouldn't say that, Rome's? Well, one, let's look at our division, NFC South. Saints are iffy because we might have a better chance of shutting them out next season, but also remember, we split with them. Secondly, the Falcons. We don't necessarily have the Falcons' number completely. And let's also keep in mind, Falcons still have the goods to put a number on us. And I will say once again, Folks need to stop sleeping on Matt Ryan because he is not done yet. That man is a former MVP. We need to stop holding that Super Bowl botch against his career because it won't just him. Matt Ryan still has the goods to deliver, and that is a former MVP. He won MVP the year after Cam won MVP. And Tampa Bay, I don't even remember the last time we beat Tampa Bay. I think that was when Kyle Allen was the quarterback. The game that we played in London. Yeah, Deshaun Watson will be a big help, but getting him I would not say makes us contenders. It'll help, but it won't make us contenders. We got to do that. We got to fix that O-line. We got to fix that O-line. It's got to be a combination. It's got to be a combination of that. Also, plus, we got to factor in what do we really need to give up in order to get Deshaun Watson? That's another thing we got to keep in mind. What do we really have to give up? And then we got to also keep in mind about the schedule as well. The schedule is scary, y'all. The schedule is scary. So not just our division, but we got the Cardinals. We got the Niners who were in the playoffs last season. The Steelers, who were in the playoffs last season, but we'll have to see what happens with them with the whole quarterback situation. The Browns, we haven't beaten the Browns in a long time. The Lions, they don't scare me so much. The Broncos, we got to play them, and they just got Russell Wilson. I don't have a good feeling about that because when we last played the Broncos, we lost, and we lost when they had Drew Lock. Keep that in mind. We got to play the Rams. They won the freaking Super Bowl. We got to play the Bengals. They were in the Super Bowl. We got to play the Giants, who crushed us last season. Crushed us. Seattle. There's no telling what Seattle's going to have with the picks and stuff they just acquired. Shoot. The Ravens. I don't even remember the last time we even beat the Ravens. So, I mean, we got a hard schedule. We got a hard schedule. So, it's going to be very competitive. Mamba says Matt Ryan was average at best last season with 20 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. I mean, he's had one of those years before. He's had one of those years before. So, I mean, not to mention, the last time he had one of those, actually 2017, he threw for, what was it, 20 and 12? Hold on, let me go back to it. Hold on one second. Yeah, as a matter of fact, 2017, Matt Ryan had 20 and 12, and they made the playoffs, Mamba. Keep that in mind. He went 20 and 12 in 2017, and they still made the playoffs. I'm just saying, we need to stop sleeping on Matt Ryan. I mean, the dude almost had another 4,000-yard passing season. That streak ended, but he's had a long streak of that. Not to mention, Matt Ryan has been healthy throughout his career. That's another thing people fail to realize. That man has been healthy throughout his NFL career. Russell Wilson has always played well against us. True. As fans of the Carolina Panthers that are in the NFC South, knowing that we have to play Atlanta twice for so many years with them under the Matt Ryan era, he's still a very dangerous quarterback. Still a very dangerous quarterback. Now, I know they won't be having a Calvin Ridley. Have to see how big of a deal, impact that makes. But Matt Ryan is still a very dangerous quarterback. So I'm looking at another tweet at SS Football. So what do y'all think about this asking price for Deshaun Watson? 2 first-rounders, at least 3 second-rounders, and 2 starting caliber players in order to land Deshaun Watson. Let me repeat that. Asking price for Deshaun Watson. And I'm not sure if this is official. This is just, like I said, this is from a tweet. 2 first-rounders, at least 3 second-rounders, and 2 starting caliber players. Would y'all give up that much for Deshaun Watson? I'm gonna throw that out there. Would y'all give up that much for Deshaun Watson? Would y'all take that big of a risk? Because that's a big risk. That's a big old risk. Mamba says he would consider it. Okay. Hey, just like I said before, the time might have arrived where we may need to do that. Some sort of crazy risk that could potentially equal reward. So overall, if you ask me, these are the 3 things that I think are going to happen. These are the 3 things that I think are going to happen when it comes to quarterback. Enough time has passed up to now. So I'll say this. I think either 1, Carolina just might be crazy enough to just go all in and grab Deshaun Watson, which I think is a 5% chance that we successfully land him. 2, we go quarterback in the draft, and I think Malik Willis ends up being high on the list unless everybody on there ends up being yes men to David Tepper and they end up going Kenny Pickett. Or 3, we simply trade back, try to boast this O-line and get more picks, and we just ride another season with Sam Darnold at quarterback at the helm, only this time he'll be better protected, or at least hopefully better protected. I think one of those three things are going to happen. Khalil Wesley says the price is too high. Philly and Seattle still interested in Watson. Wait, Philly's interested? Are you sure about that? Because I think the coach or GM are still banking on Jalen Hurts being their guy. I think they're still banking on Jalen Hurts being their guy. Mamba says the players I would put in a Houston trade would be Robbie Anderson, Derek Brown, and CJ Henderson. Any picks with that? Like, are you saying Mamba along with the picks? Along with the 2 first rounders and 3 second rounders? What do y'all think about that? Or Mamba, what do you think about that? So Robbie Anderson, Derek Brown, CJ Henderson, and the picks that I mentioned, the 2 first rounders, 3 second rounders. So 2 first rounders, 2024 and 2023 second round. Huh. And all we would now you're saying this to say with this, all we would be getting in return is just Deshaun Watson. Just Deshaun Watson is all we would be getting in return. Khalil Wesley says Watson said he doesn't want to come here. Malik Willis not an option is another Cam Newton again. The scouts say that they're very high on Malik Willis. The Panther scouts apparently are high on Malik Willis. It's David Tepper that wants Kenny Pickett. Khalil Wesley, do you have a quarterback in mind that you would consider? Because the thing is, remember, the thing is that a lot of folks are banking, or excuse me, a lot of folks look at Kenny Pickett as somebody that only had one good year in college. So that's something to keep in mind. Mamba says, and Laramie Tunsil. Oh, okay. Okay, so not just Deshaun Watson, but him as well. Gotcha. I see. Hey, Tito Z, good to see you. What's up? What's good, champ? I am super late. My thing is to shore up the O-line no matter what. Yeah. So Tito Z, to get you caught up some. So I'm sure you've heard, but we're bringing back Zane Gonzalez, 2 years, 2.5 mil. We're bringing back Julian Stanford, linebacker. Apparently was a special teams gem. Bringing him back for 1 year. They didn't disclose his price, Word is that Panthers are heavy in the running. Top priority to get Deshaun Watson. Carson Wentz to the Washington Commanders. Russell Wilson to the Denver Broncos. The Giants are supposedly pursuing Mitchell Trubisky. So supposedly Tampa Bay, Seattle, Carolina may potentially be the front runners to land Deshaun Watson. Could possibly, quite possibly, AJ Klein, Bobby Wagner, they're both available. Could upgrade at linebacker. Jordan Hicks, available as well. Laramie Tunsil already said he wants out. Oh, yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Khalil Wesley says, we won't be winning with Deshaun Watson. We will fail. What makes you say that? I mean, I think it definitely helps our chances, especially it's a significant upgrade at quarterback. Can we at least admit that? Khalil Wesley says, Kenny Pickett had a good passing yard. He broke Dan Marino's record. Okay. Chris Winkie won the Heisman Trophy. How did that go for him in the NFL? I'm just saying. I understand the point you're making, but it's still something to think about. It's still something to factor in. Kenny Pickett had one good year. He had one good year. Yes, broke Dan Marino's record. At the same time, college transition to the NFL pros is not always an easy transition for everybody. And it's like I said in the example that I used. Chris Winkie won the Heisman Trophy. What happened when he came to the NFL? Big old bust. I hope that doesn't happen with a Kenny Pickett, but it's not impossible either. Mamba says, I think I put up a pretty good trade, if I do say so myself. Put me in the front office. Yeah, they could get your contract, you know. They'd put you in that. See how you do in the front office, Mamba. Yeah. Want me to co-sign for that? Co-sign for that. Need a petition? I'll sign that. I'll sign that. My only thing with Malik Willis, I mean, yes, coming from Liberty, you know, there are some suspects as far as can he read defenses. Definitely shows he has the arm and the talent. I mean, both quarterbacks have some pros and cons. Definitely both have some pros and cons. A lot of people are throwing Desmond Ritter into the mix as well. It's kind of like a potential sleeper. I don't hear much love about Sam Howell, but I do hear a little bit of Desmond Ritter here and there. But and then, you know, we gotta also look at, you know, some of the current quarterbacks. I mean, Zach Wilson having a pretty tough time in New York. Trevor Lawrence, when so many folks were saying tank for Trevor, tank for Trevor, tank for Trevor, look at what he's doing right now. So, I mean, that's the only thing with that. Mamba says, I go to Liberty, so I'm a bit biased towards Willis. Oh, do you really? I did not know that. That's cool. That's cool. Khalil Wesley said, Winky on late round, not the first. That still doesn't change the fact that he won a national championship and he was an MVP. Don't discount that. He won a national championship and an MVP and a Heisman Trophy. I mean, Malik Willis would be a bust. I mean, it's possible. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's hard for me to pick one over the other solely on that. You know, if anything, just hearing David Tepper, we need to get Pickett. We need to get Pickett. We're talking about the same David Tepper that vouched to go get Matt Rule. That should at least say something. It might not be the end all be all, but that should at least say something. That should at least say something. Especially coming from Mr. David Tepper. Burrow, T Law. Oh, Trevor Lawrence, Wilson, Fields, and Jonah. What's not sure what that last name is. Balled out. Justin Fields finished with 1,870 yards, 7 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. I wouldn't say that's balling out. Nah, Justin Fields definitely did not ball out. 7 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Nah. Trevor Lawrence, 3,641 yards, 12 touchdowns, 17 interceptions. I wouldn't say Trevor Lawrence balled out. Mac Jones, sure. Mac Jones, sure. Mac Jones, 3,801 yards, 22 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. Yeah, that's better. But Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, no. I'm sorry, when your interception count is a lot higher than your touchdown count, that's not balling out. That's not balling out. Zach Wilson. Let's see Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson, 2,334 yards, 9 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. That's not really that much better than Sam Darnold. If we're looking at stats, that's not really that much better than Sam Darnold. I would say Burrow and Mac Jones. From your list, I'd say Burrow and Mac Jones, sure. The other 3 balled out. I'm going to have to disagree. I'm going to have to respectfully disagree. I mean, sure. Yeah, their own rebuilding teams. I will say that. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Their own rebuilding teams. But I still can't say that they balled out. I can't say that they balled out. I mean, if anything, I felt like Joe Burrow, I felt like was very worthy of being in the MVP discussion this past season. I'll say that. But personally, I think Cooper Kupp should have won NFL MVP. Now, he did win Super Bowl MVP, but I felt like he should have won NFL MVP. Kaleo Wesley says, we draft Pickett. It's a big reunion with Matt Rule, which I do remember. Matt Rule did vouch for Kenny Pickett. That is true. But something else to think about. You know, Matt Rule likes his Baylor players, likes his Temple players. I mean, how has that worked out for him? It's a lot of factors we got to keep in mind. Yeah, I'm sure we all, when it comes to picking our teams, want our favorite players on our teams. But we got to remember this is Matt Rule. This is Matt Rule. And I can completely understand the disdain that a lot of the Carolina Panthers nation have for Matt Rule. And I'm sure they're not the only nation that has that type of disdain. Mamba says the only reason why Mac did pretty good is because he was put in the perfect system. Any other team, he would have been just like Fields. Well, when you got Josh McDaniels and you got Bill Belichick, that's a fair point, Mamba. That is a fair point. Yeah, that's a fair point. And then Khalil, going back to I missed one of your comments. You had said Cam Newton's getting old. He's free agent. If we get Kenny Pickett, bring in some offensive linemen, Pickett will be an elite quarterback for us. Well, let me ask you this. You say Cam Newton's getting old. Age isn't really that much of a factor. It's a little bit of a factor, but it's not that much of a factor. You know why it's not that much of a factor? Remember Super Bowl 50? Remember we got beat by the Broncos? Remember we lost to Peyton Manning? Peyton Manning was 39. Yes, he didn't have the best game. Still won. And that was the second championship. Tom Brady has 7 championships? And he's in his 40s? We gotta stop using age as such a big factor. It's a factor, but it is minor compared to others, especially compared to health, stuff like that. I mean, you build any offensive lineman, strong offensive line, you put any quarterback behind there, they're going to look pretty elite as long as they're making the right decisions. And at the same time, folks keep forgetting, Cam Newton came back to Carolina in week 10. Week 10. Nobody cannot expect for somebody to click and get the system like that coming in to week 10. It's too much to ask of somebody. It's too much to ask. I don't know. Maybe others feel different, but I feel like that's too much to ask. Especially coming into a situation where the team was struggling and they bring you in week 10 and, expect you to be able to get the system and turn it around. That's a big ask. That's all I'm saying. That's a ginormous ask. Let me see. I do kind of want to see something right quick. So, whoa, hold on. Sorry about that. Looking at the combine, I do want to look at Kenny Pickett's combine. Let me see. Ran a 4.7340. Vertical jump of 33.5. Broad jump of 121. The 4.29 in the 20-yard shuttle. They have him at a prospect grade of 6.40. Will become good starter within 2 years. But they do say that he, out of the quarterbacks, would probably be the one that would be able to start immediately. That's what the word is. That's what the word is. That he'd be able to start immediately. Okay. Shoot. Let me do another search. Because I actually kind of want to look at the other quarterbacks as well. Let me see. Ooh. So they got Malik Willis at a 6.41. They don't have his numbers though. Where the heck is his numbers though? Dang, they don't have it listed. Hold up. Let me. Can't seem to find his numbers. And then another thing that we're talking about with Kenny Pickett is the hand size. The hand size being somewhat of a factor. Okay, so he didn't run the 40. Average 5.8 yards per rushing template. Oh yeah, that's his Liberty 9.5 hand size. Apparently, the big impression that it got from the scouts is his deep throwing. Something that we don't do a lot of. Mainly because we don't have the time to do a lot of that, which is why we need to fix the O-line so that we can throw deep. Because that is something that we are greatly lacking. Let's see. Ooh, Desmond Ritter ran a 4.5240. Dang. As a matter of fact, Desmond Ritter, he has a 10-inch hand size. Desmond Ritter's another that I feel like could be a sleeper. So Kenny Pickett's prospect grade was a 6.40. Malik Willis was a 6.41. Desmond Ritter is a 6.36. Ooh. So Desmond Ritter, he did a couple of events. So yeah, 40-yard dash, he ran a 4.5240, vertical jump of 36, a broad jump of 127, a 7.15 in the 3-cone drill, 4.29 in the 20-yard shuttle. And Desmond Ritter has a 6.36 prospect grade. Will eventually be plus starter. You know what? Let me go back to Kenny Pickett for a second. Let me go back to Kenny Pickett. Something I want to see. Who is Kenny Pickett's comparison? So let me see. So one Mamba says comparison to Joe Burrow. Another says comparison to Derek Carr for Kenny Pickett. So Joe Burrow, Derek Carr, as far as comparison to Kenny Pickett. Okay, Kenny Pickett. Strengths. Broke Dan Marino's Pitt passing yards record. Comes from an athletic family and bloodlines. Has good size and all the physical tools needed as a pro. Jaw-dropping improvement across the board from 2020. Touchdown interception ratio went from 13-9 in 2020 to 42-7 in 2021. A big improvement, but that was his one big year. Passing scheme required full field reads. Good recognition and decisions on combo route throws to all levels. Potential to get better at recalibrating reads with more work. Work with improved anticipation and tight spiral throwing into windows. Velocity to stay ahead of closing coverage. Arm strength to push deep outs without a problem. Able to extend the play and win on the move with his arm. Arm talent to make off-platform throws. Elusiveness to escape a free runner and scramble for yards. Those are Kenny Pickett's strengths. Those are what they have listed as his strengths. Mamba says, that's not bad at all. Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. Weaknesses. Kenny Pickett weaknesses. Some scarring from previous protection issues. Nervous feet and poise can get the best of him despite clean pockets, something that Sam Darnold suffered from. Drifts outside the pocket rather than climbing to scan. Feet don't always follow his eyes when throwing. Another Sam Darnold issue. Poor placement and touch added to drop issues. Finesse throws into buckets are below average. Better timing would prevent contested catches. Can improve at making leading throws. Doesn't throw with much of an expedited release. Needs to take the incompletion instead of the sack. And then sources say that he could be the next Joe Burrow, Derek Carr, or Kyler Murray. Joe Burrow and Kyler Murray were early picks who are also one-hit wonders back in college. So, Khalil Wesley says Kenny Pickett is number one on Pro Day. I mean, that is true. I'm not taking anything away from that. And there's some good strengths with Kenny Pickett. Definitely some good strengths there. And I think you named a few, Khalil. Good strengths there. But those weaknesses, the thing that sticks out about a couple of weaknesses is that there were the same weaknesses Sam Darnold had for us. The nervous feet, despite the clean pockets, Sam Darnold had that same issue. Feet don't always follow his eyes when throwing. Sam Darnold had that issue. Needs to take the incompletion instead of the sack. Same thing. And the only reason why I'm pointing those out specifically is because we went through a whole season of those this past season. So it's gonna catch some folks' eyes. It's gonna catch some folks' eyes. Now, let's see. Let's go back to Malik Willis. Hold up. Go back to Malik Willis because I'm curious. Let's look at his strengths and weaknesses. Let me know what y'all think. Malik Willis. Strengths. Electrifying dual threat ability and potential. Frame is compact, broad, and powerful. Rare escapability and elusiveness on the go. Finishes strong and gets what is needed on called runs. Ran for 100+ yards 5 times over the last 2 years. Able to pace his release according to need. Able to recognize blitz and get the ball out. Makes drive throws with twitchy hips. Arm strength capable of winning in tight windows. Beats safeties on deep sideline throws. Ability to work through progressions when protected. Wide lens field scan on rollouts and scrambles. Rapid mesh point transition to throw on RPOs. And strong hands for a fluid pump, reset, and launch. One of those strengths I wanted to point out, ability to work through progressions when protected, something that Sam Darnold hasn't been able to do. But to be fair, he's not protected a lot. So just wanted to point that out. Okay, what are Malik Willis's weaknesses? Let's see. Set depth will get away from him at times. Below average climbing pocket and staying throw ready. Drops eyes rather than standing in and delivering in the face of pressure. Too many missed opportunities to make easy on schedule throws. That is something I did notice. Allows throwing windows to close on him. Poor field recognition and progression quickness over second half of the season. Pressed and took unnecessary sacks. Throwing mechanics lack repeatable consistency. Needs to calm and settle his feet from the pocket. Elbow drop and overstride have been culprits. Deep balls can be rushed and a little flat. Lack of touch greatly diminishes his margin for error as a thrower. Ball placement causes stride, breaks, and adjustments for wideouts. Accuracy plummets when scrambling. Major struggles bringing in snaps and securing through contact in 2020. That's what they have listed as Malik Willis's weaknesses. There's one other thing I wanted to point out as far as a concern with Kenny Pickett with his hands. I mean, you have to think, if a defender gets to Kenny Pickett and swats that ball out of his hands, are his hands even capable of holding on to the ball, warranting a swat? A strong swat, especially blindside, with small hands, might be a little difficult to be able to hold on and maintain if it comes to that. Now, I do agree it shouldn't come down to that because that's what the O-line is there for, to protect. So it shouldn't even be an issue in the first place. But I'm saying No O-line is perfect. No O-line is perfect. So just something to keep in mind. Desmond Ritter, the sleeper, who I feel is the sleeper. Strengths and weaknesses. Desmond Ritter. Strengths. Jump in production and play from 2020 to 2021. Team captain who plays with confidence and command on the field. Mobile and athletic, but looks to win from the pocket. Pocket poise with easy slide away from pressure points. Quick to process what the defense shows him. Uses eyes to hold single high safety and set up a deep shot. Patient in allowing routes to mature and uncover. Mobility to elude pressure and reset launch point outside the pocket. Machine-like mechanics and footwork. Operates from a well-balanced platform, able to pump and alter target choice when needed. Changes speeds and alters touch underneath. Throws the out route with timing and break anticipation. And speed to turn a scramble into a chunk play. Alrighty. Weaknesses. Deep balls have a tendency to come up short. Yikes. Gives safeties time to range over from the top Gives safeties time to range over the top from the post. Average arm strength for tight window throws. Wind up slows overall release quickness. Slower operation time led to 26 career batted passes per PFF. Ooh, that's a lot. Struggles in throwing receivers open. Ooh, now I'm really starting not to like this. Inconsistent accuracy on intermediate throws. Rarely gets all the way through his progressions. Average elusiveness could bring heavy punishment as a runner. Below average placement and velocity for pro throws. And peels back and over the top of the pocket, leading to sacks. Dang. Kind of sound like those weaknesses kind of overlook the strengths. Ugh. Those weaknesses they kind of bother me. They bother me a little bit. Those weaknesses bother me a little bit. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. I guess, I'm here in North Carolina. Might as well talk about Sam Howell. Prospect grade is a 6.22. Sam Howell. Strengths. This ought to be interesting. Gamer tendencies since freshman season. Confident demeanor leaks over to teammates. Has some sandlot talent when pressed. Climbs pocket with scanner still clicked on. Adequate decision maker reading combo routes. Can get to his third read across the field. Looks for explosive throws outside the pocket. Nimble dealing with foot traffic. Zip and multiple arm slots for off-platform throws. Took yards with his legs rather than forcing throws in 2021. Red zone value as a runner. Frisky with shake to elude and pop to finish. Yeah. Doesn't sound crazy. Weaknesses. Squatty frame and tightly bound limbs. Ball pat and wind up slow the release. Touch and timing both need work. Muscles the throws with upper body causing the ball to sail. Falls off the throw unnecessarily. Gives safety a head start to make plays over the top. Deep balls come out late and a little flat. Placement issues make receivers work hard. Lacks accuracy on drive throws. Needs to trust his eyes and cut it loose, and takes too many unnecessary sacks. Wow. Sam Howell's not, from listening to that, from reading that doesn't sound too convincing either. Mamba says, I heard Tyrod Taylor, Russell Wilson, and Michael Vick as comparisons for Malik Willis. Ooh. Oh, hey. There's a Super Bowl champion in one of those three names. So, hey. Tyrod Taylor, my only thing with Tyrod Taylor is he's had trouble staying healthy. Tyrod Taylor's a good guy. He just has trouble staying healthy. And Mike Vick was a beast when it came to running. And he had one heck of an arm, too. Used to give Carolina a fit until we got Julius Peppers. Trying to think. Is there another quarterback besides these four? I don't think there was another quarterback. Oh, wait a minute. Carson Strong. I forgot about Carson Strong from Nevada. Khalil Wesley says the scouts like and talked to Pickett. They will see him on pro day. I mean, I'm sure they will, but they also liked what they saw from Malik Willis as well. That's also something to factor in as well. I don't think it was just all on Pickett. They were also liking Malik Willis as well. Mamba says, I feel bad for Tyrod. He finally gets a starting job, then gets hurt and replaced. Has happened multiple times now. Facts. And he's a good guy. He's a good guy. He's Teddy Bridgewater, he's a good guy. But, with Tyrod, he's haven't been able to stay healthy. Christian McCaffrey, great guy, great player, hadn't been able to stay healthy. Those are so unfortunate. Thank you, Mr. Gemini. Thank you so much. I totally forgot about Matt Corral. Let me do Carson Strong first, and then I'll do Matt Corral. Carson Strong, prospect grade of a 6.00. Ooh, they're actually comparing him to Drew Bledsoe. They're comparing Carson Strong to Drew Bledsoe. And also Phillip Rivers. Wow, Drew Bledsoe and Phillip Rivers for Carson Strong. Now I definitely got to read on this. Strengths. A-rated consistency and production since 2020. Team captain who is highly regarded by coaches and teammates alike. Took good care of the football in the red area. Adequate pocket slide to find cleaner launch point. Able to make splash throws off platform. One of the best arms in the draft. Elite combination of velocity and touch. Release is effortless and can come from a variety of angles. Ripped throws into tight windows from 30 yards away. Yikes. Can make precision throws between coverage levels. Throws receivers away from trouble. Push strength for receivers to run under his deep ball. Wow, those are some pretty big name positives. But let's look at the weaknesses. Medical history is a significant red flag. Lacking in his pre- and post-snap response to pressure. Surgeries on right knee have robbed him of mobility. Unwillingness to get the ball out quickly leads to sacks. Needs to prove he can become a full field reader. Will linger on primary receivers a little too long. Allows high safeties to get a head start over the top. Chance taking could backfire on him as a pro. Remains to be seen if he has patience to take what the defense gives him. Huh. So it sounds like he has some health history. Ugh. That's definitely gonna hurt his stock a little bit. Jack Cohn too. Jack Cohn. Okay. Let's do Matt Corral because that was another big name. Matt Corral had a prospect grade of 6.40. His NFL comparison is to Baker Mayfield. I don't know how y'all feel about that. Strengths. He competes hard and plays with an abundance of confidence. He's a quick processor and better decision maker in 2021. Hasty ball handling for quick game and RPOs. Impressive release quickness and rips a tight spiral. Touch and fearlessness to work between leveled coverage. Generally patient, allowing routes to develop. Above average arm strength for smaller quarterback. Twitched up hips to generate drive on window throws. Made a 60-yard throw without having his feet set against Alabama. Throws fluffy, well-placed deep ball when protected. Would rather take sack than put the ball up for grabs. Would have had significantly higher completion rate if not for excessive drops. Able to slip away from pressure, both elusive and combative on called runs and scrambles. Dang, it's a lot of strengths there. Okay, weaknesses. Slender frame with size falling below desired NFL mark. Too haphazard as a runner to sustain durability. Scouts question whether he has necessary maturity. Benefits from heavy play action and RPO looks. Needs to prove he can become a full field reader. Babies and aims the short throw. Deep ball needs to come out earlier for speedy NFL targets. Will take unnecessary chances against lingering safety help. Most of his interceptions were layups for the defender. Poise and placement take a hit once his feet are moving. And he takes too long to leave pocket and seek refuge under duress. One of the things from the scouts says that he doesn't have the physical advantages of a Kenny Pickett or Malik Willis, but he's a better pure quarterback than either of them. Ooh, what do y'all think about that? The director of scouting for AFC team doesn't say his name, but apparently he says that Matt Corral is a better pure quarterback than Kenny Pickett and Malik Willis. Wow. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, Jack Cohen. All right, let's take a look at him. Okay, Jack Cohen had a 6.10 prospect grade. They're comparing him to Brian Hoyer. It's not exactly a very high credible name. Let's just say that. Although he has started games and such, but Brian Hoyer isn't the type of name that gets people excited. You know what I mean? But let's look at his strengths and weaknesses. Strengths for Jack Cohen. He has the build of an NFL pocket quarterback, has thrown for 43 touchdowns to 12 interceptions over his last 2 seasons. Well, sounds like he knows how to take good care of the ball. Operates with poise and command from the pocket. Pocket mobile with consistent reset to find his platform. gets his ankles pointed toward the target before throwing, ability to hang tight and win from the pocket, can get through a full field of progressions, arm strength will check the box, trusts the play-by-play design and his own arm, possesses boldness to attack tighter windows, showed marked improvement as the season progressed, and greater willingness to expand his eyes vertically in 2021. His weaknesses: lacks desired twitch for RPO or quick game, ball placement outside numbers need work, hasn't proven to make consistent back shoulder throws, needs to get better at regulating deep ball touch, gets caught babying throws at times, below average focus to deliver with accuracy under pressure, needs better safety manipulation with his eyes, interceptions come from lurking coverage underneath, and below average talent as a runner or a runner and scrambler. And from a personnel executive for NFC team, says he was better once he got away from Wisconsin's passing game, but he doesn't see anything more than a backup at best. This is for Jack Cohen. So he says nothing better, nothing more than a backup. So, I mean, if anything, it seems like the quarterbacks to kind of keep the biggest eye on from this draft: Malik Willis, Kenny Pickett, Desmond Ritter, and Matt Corral. I think those are probably the four that could potentially get picked in the first round. Perhaps. Malik Willis and Kenny Pickett seem like very likely. Matt Corral. I think Desmond Ritter could sneak into the first round, but honestly, I think it's going to come down between him and Sam Howell. But I don't see both of them getting picked in the first round. I think one of them might, but not both. Mr. Gemini says Matt Corral might be a sleeper. Yeah, a lot of people are saying him and Desmond Ritter, but after looking at those combine analysis, I think you may be right. And then also got to think about Pittsburgh being in the running for a quarterback from the draft. I mean, looking at that first round alone, I could see Carolina, possibly Atlanta if they want to plan for their post Matt Ryan future. Seattle, possibly. We'll see what happens with Seattle. Steelers, definitely. I think those I could see consider a quarterback in the first round. But we'll see. We'll definitely see. But I think with these next 2 days coming up, especially Friday being the court hearing of the evidence surrounding Deshaun Watson, these next 2 days is going to be pretty interesting. But yeah, we'll see what happens. But I think that'll be it for tonight. Thank y'all so much. Man, we've been on here over 2 hours. Thank y'all so much for sticking around. Mr. Gemini says, what if Atlanta gets Malik Willis? Well, Atlanta has the 8th pick. So, if we don't go quarterback, they could definitely get Malik Willis. It wouldn't surprise me if they went with a quarterback with that 8th pick. Just to, be ready for post Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan's 36 right now. Not sure how much is left on his contract, but Matt Ryan is 36. So they could be planning for post Matt Ryan. So it wouldn't surprise me if they got Malik Willis. And then who knows, maybe at some point may go with a wide receiver later in the draft, especially, they might decide not to let Calvin Ridley play season after next. They may just drop him. But I don't know. Calvin Ridley's still young. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me, Mr. Gemini, if Atlanta went with a quarterback. Could definitely happen. But with Seattle taking Denver's first round pick, depending on how things go, with Deshaun Watson and maybe Mitchell Trubisky and others, Seattle could be drafting a quarterback. Because like I said, I really highly doubt they're going to go with Drew Lock. I don't see it. I don't see it. But only time will tell. But anyway, that'll do it for the stream. Thank y'all so much for sticking around for 2+ hours. Y'all have been a great audience. Thank y'all for sharing. Love hearing what y'all have to say. Love hearing y'all's opinions. Definitely come back for more. And like I said, me and Mr. Carolina were planning on doing an upcoming mock draft. So we're still working out the plan for that. But yeah, looking forward to doing that. And like I said, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and let's just keep an eye out, see what Carolina decides to do with all the hoopla that's been going on around the league. Better do something. Better start taking some risks. Better do something. But we got Julian Stanford for another year. We got Zane Gonzalez for 2 more years. What's next? I don't know. Stay tuned. Let's all find out together. I'm your host of Blitzball Champ Gaming, Blitzball Champ Jason Ingram, of this episode of Carolina Panthers Talk, brought to you by, not brought to you by, here on the U to the Tube. Getting my phrases mixed up. Thank y'all so much for watching. Hope everybody has a blessed day tomorrow, and I will see y'all very soon. Keep pounding no matter what. Love y'all. Peace.